Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the latest episode of Musical Musings, airing every Wednesday at 1 p.m. This program is broadcast from Rajamakhan University of Technology, Pranakan. The program comes to you in two parts. In the first part, we will introduce a song. We'll discuss its main topics, what it's all about. We may also talk about the performer as well, the band or the singer. Then we will listen to that song, and we will analyze the lyrics. We're going to especially take time to look at any difficult vocabulary words, slang, or idioms. Anything in there that might be difficult for you to understand. And after that, we will finish up the program and we will have the news and latest updates from the university as always.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Gary Gray. I am your host for Musical Musings. I am an English teacher from America, teaching here at Rajamakhan University of Technology, Pranakan. We've got another really good song for you this week. We'll be listening to and analyzing the song The Thunder Rolls by Garth Brooks. This is another great song that shows the crossover of genres. As a music lover, one thing that bugs me the most is when people ask what genre a song is. For those of you listening for the first time, just for your information, a genre is a category within a particular area of art. For example, genres of music include things like jazz, classical, country, rock, hip-hop, pop, etc. So these genres exist. Why does it bother me then that people are asking about them? Well, it's annoying because there's too much crossover. That is, country music very often takes elements of rock music, and we will see that in today's song. Garth Brooks is known as a country music artist, but his songs have a significant element of rock and roll in them. What would I consider elements of rock being in country music? It's really simple. You have to look at what makes up country music in its purest form. If you go back to country music when it really gained its popularity back from the 1950s and 60s and 1970s, it was generally one person or a group. They'd be singing with, not much more instrumental accompaniment than an acoustic guitar. Sometimes for performance purposes, they're on stage, they want it to be a little louder, they would maybe opt for an electric guitar. But it wouldn't be played with really the hard driving sound that you get in rock music. And sometimes there'd be some drumming to help keep the rhythm, but again, it wouldn't be really strong. It wouldn't be a really heavy drum beat. The focus was really on the singer and the lyrics, as country music was known for telling stories, and it really still is. Country music tells a lot of stories. When you did get some additional instrumentation, it would sometimes kind of veer away. It wouldn't go along with what you might normally see in rock music. For example, in the bluegrass style of country music, you might get some fiddle playing. We recently heard that on this program when we listened to The Devil Went Down to Georgia by Charlie Daniels. That was a bluegrass style of country music, although it was also mixed with rock music. But because it was the bluegrass style, we had some fiddle in there. The bottom line is, in today's more modern country music, you get a lot more heavy guitar and drum backing on the vocals. This comes from rock. They are merging the two genres, and many musicians do this. And frankly, in my opinion, it's a very good thing. Why? Because it's creative, and music is an art form. It's supposed to be this way. Make it fun, make it interesting, mix things up. That's why I hate how obsessed some people get with what genre of music a song is. A lot of people get obsessed with that. They want to put a song into a certain category. What is its genre? Who cares? It's music. It's art. And many songs cross genres. We will see that again this week with The Thunder Rolls by Garth Brooks. So what is this song generally about? It might sound from the title like it's about a storm. Well, they're using that as kind of an analogy or maybe an allegory or a metaphor. Those words mean slightly different things, obviously. We have 3 different words for them. Analogy, allegory, metaphor. They don't mean exactly the same thing. But they generally mean that you're telling a story with a meaning that doesn't exactly match what the explicit words would suggest it means. In other words, we're not really talking about a storm here. So while the song does talk about there being an actual storm coming, and there is a storm in the song, it's actually meant as a sign of the relationship between a man and a woman. And to say that a relationship is stormy means that there are problems. So the song actually tells 2 stories at the same time. One is metaphorical, which means that it means more than it says, and the other is literal, which means that the story is actually exactly what it says. So what's interesting is that both the stories are the same. The story is about a man cheating on his wife or his girlfriend. We don't really know. The second story about the storm is metaphorical, about the man and woman having a stormy relationship. So it's a fun song in the way it tells the story. Of course, I don't mean to say that the story is fun. Obviously, it's a negative story. A lot of country music songs, for whatever reason, they focus on the negative things in life. It's one reason some people don't like country music, or they maybe make fun of country music, because it's always about sad stuff. So what I mean by this song being fun is in the way that it's written. We get 2 parallel stories being told at the same time. And the musical backing is also strong. So despite the negative story, it's really a great song. And again, those 2 parallel stories are really the same story, which is what makes it so interesting. It's telling the story literally and metaphorically at the same time. Okay, before we get to the song, let's hear a little bit about Garth Brooks, the singer. Okay, now Garth is another interesting personality, just like some of the other country singers we've talked about during this program. I've pointed out many times how country singers tend to come from a conservative background. So a lot of them are politically and socially conservative. Because they're exposed to the music industry, which tends to be more liberal, it opens them up to many different kinds of people. So the country singers usually aren't quite as conservative as most of the people from their same background. Still, they do tend to lean a little bit that way. But very interestingly, Garth Brooks is very outspoken in favor of gay rights. It may be because it's personal to him, as his sister is gay, but he really makes sure everyone knows where he stands. Recently in America, there was a big controversy with the Budweiser beer company using a transgender woman for a social media promotion. There are a lot of conservatives in America, and a lot of them prefer standard, classic types of beer like Budweiser. So there's a lot of conservatives who drink Budweiser. So they were very upset by this. They have all said they'll never buy a certain type of Budweiser again. There was only one type of Budweiser that was used for this ad campaign. So they said they're never going to buy that again. Meanwhile, as all this was going on, Garth Brooks was in the process of opening his own bar, and he came out publicly and announced that his bar would serve all beers. This was obviously a reaction to conservatives not supporting Budweiser. Garth was making a statement that he supported the use of a transgender social media influencer in the beer ad campaign. And Garth does things like this frequently. He's an open and aggressive supporter of the LGBTQ community. And that's really a big deal within the country music scene. As I mentioned before, it does tend to lean towards the conservative side, but many of their fans, because they're not actually in the music industry, so they don't kind of get exposed to that more liberal side, so many of their fans are even more conservative than the singers themselves. Of course, as I always tell you when we talk about things like this, you should never group everyone into one group. There are plenty of liberal, moderate, middle-of-the-road people who are also country music fans. But just generally, if you took country music fans compared to other music genre fans, country music fans tend to be quite conservative. So even if the singers aren't as conservative, they do need to be a little careful with what they talk about. So it's very bold and courageous to be outspoken, as Garth Brooks is, as he's literally putting his career on the line to speak out in defense of a group that is often victimized. In fact, he's gotten a lot of criticism for speaking out. Okay, so enough about that. Let's get to the song. For those of you joining us via YouTube, you know the story if you've listened to us before. Copyright issues will prevent us from embedding the video. You should see a link in the upper right corner. You can click on that to jump to the song. Then just come back here for the rest of the program where we will go through the song. Everyone else should be just fine. You should be able to listen just fine. And for those of you that are going to be watching the video and not just listening, please be aware that there doesn't appear to be an official music video for this. I really don't know why. Seems to me there should be. I usually use the official video so that the artist can get the proper credit. However, I cannot find one. I know one exists, so maybe, I don't know, maybe Garth Brooks is boycotting YouTube or something. I'm not sure what's going on. I cannot find an official video on YouTube. So this is just a random video from YouTube that's high enough quality to be used here. All right, let's get to it.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Welcome back. This is not a terribly long song, and the lyrics aren't that complicated. So our lyrical analysis might not take too much time and effort this week, but that's okay. We talked quite a lot in the first part of our show today, discussing genres and some background information about the singer, Garth Brooks. So our time is just a bit limited here in our second segment of the program. With that said, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it. Okay, we open the song with verse 1. 3:30 in the morning, not a soul in sight. City's looking like a ghost town on a moonlit summer night. Raindrops on the windshield, there's a storm moving in. He's heading back from somewhere that he never should have been. Okay, as I said, these lyrics are pretty simple. He's just telling a story. There are a couple of things worth explaining. The term ghost town is an American town. Some towns, as America expanded westward, were abandoned, as there was nothing worth staying in the town for. So there ended up being a complete town with lots of buildings, but absolutely no people left, so it's really creepy. These are known as ghost towns. So when the song says the city's looking like a ghost town, it just means there's no one around. There's no people. It's very quiet. And it's because, as the song starts, it says it's 3:30 in the morning. That's why it's quiet. And when it talks about the storm moving in, it means that literally and metaphorically. There's really a storm in the song. As you'll see, it actually plays a part in the song a little bit later, so there's actually a real storm in the song. But it means the storm in the relationship is coming as well. He's about to get in trouble. He's cheating. We know he's cheating because it says he's heading back from a place he never should have been. All right, then it repeats the line, and the thunder rolls twice. Then we get to the second verse. Every light is burning in a house across town. She's pacing by the telephone in her faded flannel gown. Asking for a miracle, she's hoping she's not right. Praying it's the weather that's kept him out all night. All right, some minor vocabulary here. A light doesn't really burn, right? I mean, you just turn it on. It's electric. But we sometimes use that term because in the old days, before electricity, when people used lamps, your lights would burn. You'd have an oil lamp. And the faded flannel gown, a gown is like a really long shirt or sweater you'd wear at night, like it covers your whole body. And flannel is a very warm material. It's not very common here in Thailand, so you may not be familiar with it. It's worn more in cold weather areas. It really keeps you warm. Okay, that's really all that's tricky here. It's pretty straightforward. If you don't understand the basic story of what's going on, remember from the first verse that it's 3:30 in the morning. So the woman's partner isn't home yet. She suspects he's cheating. She's very worried. But she's hoping and praying that the storm is what's keeping him out. Maybe he usually gets home late anyway. The song doesn't talk about that. So she hopes that the storm is delaying him. So that's what's causing him to be even later. So she's hoping. She has her suspicions, but she's hoping. Okay, after two more, and the thunder rolls, we get the chorus. And the thunder rolls, and the lightning strikes. Another love grows cold on a sleepless night as the storm blows on out of control. Deep in her heart, the thunder rolls. All right, I probably messed up the music there a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay, there's lots of metaphors in this. The thunder rolls and the lightning strikes. The lightning is that she's being suddenly struck, that she knows what's going on. You'll see that more in the next verse, but of course this is the chorus, so it's going to kind of repeat and be the same each time. So she gets struck by lightning in that she knows what's happening. And the thunder rolling means she's getting angry. All right, and when it says her love grows cold, that phrase means that you've lost your love for another person entirely, or at least you have a lot of bitterness going along with it because you feel hurt. And the storm blowing out of control we don't really know what that's referring to, but I think it's probably referring to the whole situation. She can't control her partner, but maybe she also can't control her anger either. And that anger, deep in her heart, the thunder rolls. That's the anger building. Okay, verse 3. She's waiting by the window when he pulls into the drive. She rushes out to hold him, thankful he's alive. But on the wind and rain, a strange new perfume blows, and the lightning flashes in her eyes, and he knows that she knows. Again, pretty straightforward. Just a couple of things to explain. First, a simple one. The word drive here is just short for driveway. So when it says he pulls into the drive, it just means he's pulling into the driveway. Okay, and we can see she still has hope as she hugs him and is glad he's fine. But when she hugs him, she can smell another woman's perfume. This is when she gets really angry. You know how you can kind of see in someone's eyes when they're mad? That's what it's saying here when it says that the lightning flashes in her eyes. That's what that saying means. And since you can usually see that, well, so does he. So he knows that she knows he's cheating on her. Then we jump into the chorus again. And then we get to the fourth and final verse. She runs back down the hallway and through the bedroom door. She reaches for the pistol kept in the dresser drawer. Tells the lady in the mirror he won't do this again, 'cause tonight will be the last time she'll wonder where he's been. So this gets really dramatic here. as she goes back to her bedroom and grabs a gun, a pistol. You probably know that word, but in case you don't, that's a type of gun. It's a small handheld gun. It's a pistol. When it says she's talking to the lady in the mirror, obviously she's looking in the mirror and talking to herself. So she's trying to give herself the courage to do whatever she's going to do. And then she says that this will be the last time she's going to stay up all night worrying about him. Then the song ends with the chorus. So we don't even actually know what she did. Was she just grabbing the gun to scare him so she can force him to leave and break up with him and make him get out of the house? Or is this so dramatic that she's actually going to kill him? We don't know. And Garth Brooks probably intentionally left it this way, so we can make our own decision. The song pretty much ends however we want it to end. Did the woman just break up with her cheating partner? Or did she do something more severe? That is up to you to decide. All right, friends, that's it for this song. It's a really great song lyrically and musically, the way it uses the storm metaphor to go right along with the story. The story itself may not be very fun. The woman is getting cheated on, and then she does something, we don't even really know what, at the end. But it is, in fact, one of Garth Brooks' most famous songs, and there's a reason for that. It's, like I said, it's really great musically and lyrically. So if you like it, check out more of his music. Honestly, I don't have a great knowledge of his catalog of music. Despite being a big music fan and featuring a lot of country artists on this program lately, believe it or not, I'm not a big fan of country music. But there's still some good songs, that's why we played them. So I don't know many other Garth Brooks songs, but he is a good guy, as we talked about in the first part of the program. So if you like his music, he deserves your support, and you should go and check out more of his music. Okay, thank you so much for joining us today for the Musical Musings program. Please make sure you stay with us and tune back in next week when we'll look at another great song. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Musical musings, musical musings.